Well, good morning. It's nice to be here with all of you. Um, anyway, I don't know where you guys are from. I presume the Janesville area. But I'm up in Madison at Score in Madison. Score in Madison covers that southwest corner of Wisconsin. And today, along with me here is Bruce Kahn, who's also here from Madison. Bruce, would you like to share with the group a little bit about yourself?
Sure. Thank you, Gene, Kara. Um, I've been with SCORE for a couple of years now. After retiring from working in several different industries, as well as having my own company, I worked for a number of years in the telecommunications industry, in marketing and what was called government relations. Um, and then I had my own company manufacturing concrete repair material and synthetic stucco, waterproof coatings. And then I went on to work for a company that manufactured fabrics and parts to make blinds and window blinds and shades. And I handled all of the most of Canada for them and much of the northern part of the United States. So I had over 100 customers who had from 2 employees to 1,000. And I would go in and coordinate the sales to them and customer service and deliveries and things like and shipments to them.
Very good. Thank you, Bruce. Uh, my name is Gene Heilman, and I've got a vast experience in marketing and sales. I started out back in 1971 with Monsanto Company in the ag division, and started as a district manager out in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, and very large area. A lot of you wouldn't think there's a lot of agriculture out there, but there is. I had 450 dealers and 6 distributors, so it's a big market to work with. We were at that time working with a product called Lasso, and in the working with doing research work on Roundup. From there, I went into St. Louis and worked at the headquarters in the advertising and marketing department, and worked with from a national standpoint. Worked in putting together things like advertising, direct mail, all those trade shows, all those kinds of things. From there, I worked quite a bit at that time also in putting training uh, uh, videos together. And from that, I did a lot of work on training dealers and so on. And there was a new company that was starting up in the ag business called Pfizer Genetics. Uh, is a subsidiary of the Pfizer Corporation out of New York. Uh, they brought in people from all over the ag industry, different backgrounds, and I joined that company in doing training and putting. It was a brand new company, so we started up all the different facets, and I put together training programs for dealers, for district managers, and for regional managers. And from there, I moved up here to Madison, Wisconsin, opened up a regional office, and became the regional manager for Wisconsin, Michigan, and Northern Illinois. I had 10 district managers under me and an agronomist, and had opened the regional office here in Madison. And that's how we came here back in 1981. Um, and from there, I left, I got out of corporate business and started my own business, staffing business, opened a franchise called Adeco. And you're probably familiar with it. I think there were one of my former employees, as a matter of fact, had an office down there in Janesville for a while. And anyway, that went really well. It went so well that corporate bought us out. We had 5 offices here throughout Wisconsin. And now I'm with SCORE now a couple years, and doing things like this and mentoring with people that are starting up businesses. Would you get the next slide, please? Kara? Yeah, thank you. Okay, today's talk is going to be about marketing and some on sales. With marketing, first thing, what is marketing? Well, marketing is a process of creating awareness and demand for a product and or service. You're not going to sell much product if you don't make the market out there aware of what you got, what you have for sale. There are a lot of people that open up businesses, but they don't take the next step of really marketing that business. So don't assume that when you start a business that customers are automatically going to come. It just that happens a lot where people open a business, but they don't much take the next step beyond that. Marketing and sales are crucial to the success of your business. If you don't do that, you're probably not going to be very successful. Now, Kara, slide, please. Kara?
I think it advanced. Is there a delay?
Oh, there you go.
This
Yeah.
one? Okay.
Okay, first thing you want to do, every business is different, and the marketing that is involved is different for every situation. So the first thing you want to do is, after you build your marketing plan or your business plan, and you get your company set up, you want to set up your marketing plan. And the first thing in regard to that, it's really important to define what your market is. When we first started in the staffing business, we started here in Madison, and we identified about 200 different businesses that we were going to target. And that was our target market. And then the next thing you want to look at is, okay, what do you have available from a budget standpoint, which is going to affect, what kind of marketing you can do. How can prospective customers find your company? Back when I opened my business, that was, the first thing you wanted to do was get yourself set up in Yellow Pages, right? Today, there isn't such a thing as Yellow Pages anymore, hardly. So you really need to get yourself onto the internet, get things like web page, ways that your prospective customers can find you. Also, in your marketing plan, you want to develop a brand for your company and your products. In other words, you want to start right from the start, develop a brand that people, as you market your company, people are going to be able to recognize who you are, and they're going to be able to search for you and find you. Media used to reach to your target market. There's many different kinds of media, and we'll go into that a little bit later as to which like I said, every company is different, and the media that you would use for your specific company would be in all likely different from others. Pricing of your product and service. very, very important to do the proper pricing. And the way you would start on that, to do that is to do research. What are your competitors doing? What kind of pricing are they doing? How does your product or service fit into that, up against your competitors? Is it at a higher level, or is it in the middle, or is it, where is it from a pricing standpoint? It's important to, the price can say a lot about your service or product. As I always said to my employees, if you, they had a lot of control on the pricing of what we did. And I said, okay, if you price too high, we may not even get that sale. And if we get that sale, we may not have that customer for the long term because we're priced out of the market. We're priced too high. But if you price too low, you're cutting our margin really, and you're leaving money on the table. You got to price to where it fits your product or service. Next slide, please. Excuse me. Oh, okay. How to best reach your target market. It's really good idea to set up a website, but when you set up a website, it needs to be done properly. It's just like your brand image, the website is also an image of your company. What kind of company, how professional are you? It needs to communicate what you have to offer, and it just needs to be done properly. And the best way to get that done is to work with somebody that's really good at doing that. You might say it's sort of like what we used to have. It's the yellow pages. Well, now you got a website where if they want to find you, they go to the internet and they look up your company name, and there you are. But are they finding? You need to have it set up properly so that they're impressed and they want to do business with you. Social networking. Right away with the business, you need to get on LinkedIn. Get yourself on there and communicate who you are, what you have to offer, and so on. I'd recommend getting on Facebook as well, Instagram. But there's a lot of small businesses today that they pretty much they grow using just Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Now, for some companies, direct mail is a way to go. And again, that's something that really needs to be done properly. With a small company, I would say the best way to handle direct mail would probably be with just a card. A lot of direct mail, when it comes in a letter format, it goes straight in the waste paper basket. And the direct mail is expensive, so you don't want that to happen to your direct mail. When we started our staffing business, we sent out a direct mail piece that introduced the company, and it went to it was approximately about 200 companies that we targeted initially, and it told who we were, what we had to offer, and so on and so on. We didn't use direct mail very often because it is expensive. Now, when I was in advertising in Monsanto, we used it quite a bit, but we had a big budget, very, very large budget there. TV advertising. TV advertising is an excellent way to get your message out there, and but again, it's pretty pricey, and if you can afford it, it's a great way to market. but you need to, again, to have the proper message to make sure you're not wasting your money. Radio, radio advertising is good for certain types of businesses. I never used it that much. Again, it's expensive, and you need to do a lot of it to make it effective. Newspaper and shoppers. In the staffing business, back in those days, that was really effective way for us to advertise for positions that we were filling. Nowadays, that's pretty much done on the internet. Not much advertising in newspapers anymore. With a small business, some advertising in newspapers could be very effective. Small businesses, shoppers are a very good way of advertising for a small business if you have for the proper business in this locale. Email. Email could be a good way to get your message out there. Again, there's so much email out there now that you have to be careful how you do it, and you need to do it in such a way that it catches the attention. And like a lot of the retailers that we do business with, we get retail or email from them all the time. As an example, Chili's I think I get an email from them on a daily basis, but I sort of like it from a standpoint they have some information in there, like for example, free order or free whatever it is, dessert or whatever. So we often use that with them. Next slide, please. Okay, in your marketing plan, when you're preparing to communicate to market, you need to do that properly. And the way that the first things you need to do on that is to define your product or service. Sit down and really look at what you have to offer and how do you want to communicate that in the best way to impress your market audience out there, and to catch their attention to where they want to find you and try your product. One of the points that you need to have in that defining your product or service is you definitely need to define the benefits of that product for your customer. How's it going to benefit them, and why should they be using it? How do you do the best state, your best state to unique? Oh, okay. How is your product unique compared to other products, your competition out there? And that's that uniqueness is a thing that you need to really make people aware of, so that they know how you're different from your competitors. Next slide, please. Other marketing tools and sales tools. There's so many things that you can come up with to help you market your company and your product. One of the first things when you start as a company, your first thing you're going to need, one of the first things, are call cards. And that call card, really, you've got a brand image for your company, a brand image of your products. That call card needs to, right from the start, you need to start showing that on your call card. Promo information piece. I really suggest that if you only have one piece of literature for your company, that Make it one that it's not real expensive to produce, but it's very informative and it's simple. It's easy to get the details off of it, and it's multi-purpose. In other words, if you you can use that for many different situations. Let's say if you meet somebody that you're talking about your company, you pass it on to them. You're making calls to whatever situation. You have that information piece that you can share with them that they have, and they've got your phone number, they've got your email address, they've got information about you, and you never know when they may call you to get your service. Door hanger promo piece. Some businesses need these kinds of things, others don't, but they're really handy for let's say if you're working with homeowners on different kinds of services that you provide. I have one of my clients, he has a pressure washing business, and this is a really important tool for him when he goes into an area and he's doing a pressure washing of a house. He'll go around the block or around the neighborhood there and hang these on the doors of the houses in the surrounding area. Works for him, and he's very, very busy. Signs for your vehicles. They make these signs now where you can, they have magnetic, where you can put it on the side of your door on your pickup or your vehicle, and you can take it off when you don't want it on there. Great way of marketing your business. Yard signs are another way. Trade show booth. Some businesses do this, others don't. It can be for the right kind of businesses, can be a very effective way to market and meet a lot of people. One of my clients goes to a trade show every year. He's working with housing, and he gets a lot of business out of that trade show. Networking, one of the greatest ways to build your business and get to be known out there. And it's very, very important to do. Get out and network. Speaker at events. This is when I was back in Monsanto. I probably did about 50, 60 meetings a winter there where we'd have farmers and some of these meetings would be very large. And we'd have a dinner or lunch or whatever. And on the program, I'd be on there. I might have a couple other ag companies on there to make the program more interesting. And but they're very, very effective. They're very educational, and they really get the message out there. That was one of our main ways of marketing the product back at that time. Next slide, please. Kara? Selling your product or service. You are your best salesperson for your company. You know your company the best. You know your product the best. You are the best salesperson. And when you bring on new employees, you need to educate them with how you do it. If you bring on new employees, that is. And but you need to one of the biggest problems with starting a new business is getting out there and marketing your business and selling. It's very, very important that this happens, because it's not going to market itself. without it's, you have to take action and get it done. Okay, leads that come in, need to follow up on those quickly. Um, I've had situations where I've called into a company and interested in buying a product, never got a return call. And I've never been able to understand any company that would do that. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But very, very important that you follow up on your leads right away. Referrals. Whenever you do business with whoever you're doing business with, always ask for referrals. Make a note. Whatever you need to do to make sure you don't forget this. You can start off with one customer, and just through referrals, you can build your business. You can just go on and on to, if you do a good job with that, with the customer you're working with, they're going to be a lot of people will be very happy to give you referrals. Some don't. That's fine. But this is a really important tool to use in building your business. Phone calls to your target market prospects. When we started that staffing business here in Madison, my wife and I, this is before we ever opened the doors, we got on the phone and we called right around 200 businesses, and it was like it was a 5-minute call, if that, maybe 3 to 5 minutes. And the purpose of the call was to introduce our company was going to be opening and starting when it was, and asking them if they used temporary services, if they did, for what kind of positions did they, and about how many temporaries did they use. You would be amazed. Very seldom did we ever get turned down on getting that information. And it was those companies that I targeted first when we opened the doors. And I had a binder with those 200 companies in it. And once we got going to such a degree and so fast that I never did get all the way down through that list of 200 customers. We were so busy servicing the customers that we did start off with. Make appointments with prospects. It's a great way to build your business is calling and making appointments, and do this ahead of time where you're filling up your weeks out in front. And that way, when you get to that week, you have your schedule pretty much full of appointments. And it's not good when you're in business and you get to Monday and your schedule is completely open. That says that you haven't been doing a very good job of making sure you've got appointments set up to meet prospective customers. Very, very important to build your business this way. Next slide, please. In summary, be consistent and persistent. It all goes back to your initial plan. You lay out your plan, and then your marketing plan, and then you have to work that plan, but be consistent with it and be persistent. Don't give up. You just keep going and stay focused. It's very, very important to do this. Do not lose sight of your goals. Great way to build a business is to lay out the goals that which you should have done on that business plan. And then your plan is to work towards attaining those goals. Always keep those goals in front of you. Make the goals you set should be realistic kind of goals that you can indeed attain. And if the goals are too low and you hit them pretty quickly, set new goals. Don't be satisfied with just reaching those goals. Set new goals and keep on going like that. Follow that business plan. You set it up, but a lot of people they set this thing up, and then they worst thing to do is some people put it in the file, or they lay it someplace and they sort of forget about it, and and what happens is when you do that, you're sort of running by the seat of your pants, and you don't have a plan that you're following, and you're doing this, you're doing that, you're not using the plan. You've got to stick with it. Don't procrastinate. I tell you, I've hired a lot of people in my past, and back in the days when I was a regional manager, and before that as a trainer. And I remember I've had district managers that I've hired, and had a ton of possibility, but they just couldn't get out the door. They have all these ideas about what could happen, but they didn't actually take action. And I tell you can have all kinds of ideas, but if you don't take action and do it, it may not go perfect every time. It won't go perfect. I'll guarantee you that. But by taking action, you're going to make things happen. I think, is that the last slide, Kara? Yeah, it is.
Yes.
I guess we can't. Can we answer any questions here?
I'm going to stop
Are there any
sharing
questions?
unless we have one person with their hand raised.
Okay. I don't see the question.
It's in the chat. I'll read it. So one of our guests says, I consider door hangers as harassment. I don't want uninvited solicitors on my property. I would not frequent such businesses. So that's a comment in response to the door hangers as a marketing tool.
I would say this to answer that question, or that response. That's your opinion, okay? I personally know of people that get a lot of business from that tool. If you're uncomfortable using that tool, don't use it. But there's a lot of people get a lot of business out of that using that tool. We've got on our home, we've had door hangers here, and we have personally looked into what they are selling. So it's good for some businesses. It's not good for others. So if it's good for yours, use it. But I'm not saying everybody should use it. Okay. Any other questions?
We may need to give some people a chance to think about questions. Jean, I had a couple that came to mind while you were talking. One is, could you give us some idea of maybe you or Bruce, in your experience working with clients, what is a typical marketing budget for a business that is starting up? Can you give us a ballpark number?
Bruce, do you want to say anything on that?
Yeah, I'll take that. There is no ballpark number. And it all depends on what kind of business you're in, how big your business is going to be initially. You can start off with, I'm working with somebody who just put together a Facebook page, and that's not very much. And they've been working their Facebook page, and so they've spent $20 a month on it. As I said, I've worked with in my previous business, I worked with over 100 customers at a time, and these were all companies that made blinds and shades, and they could start off with one person or two people, or they had 1,000. So the marketing budget was, it depended on where they were located. As Gene was saying, he would do. Let's see. Do we have somebody who can mute themselves? Gina, can you mute yourself?
Sure.
Is that okay?
It could be Gene. I could do it too if you need. Oh,
Okay.
You got it.
Yeah, I've had customers who did talks as part of their marketing. I have my wife is a retired psychotherapist in private practice, and her marketing budget was getting in front of different audiences to talk about different things, mental health issues. So for her, it was phone calls to see if somebody wanted her to go over and speak. And then from there, that she may not get clients out of those audiences, but they may then tell somebody that they heard somebody who, would be a good therapist. With respect to, what Gene was talking about, door hangers. I had a customer in Detroit who had yard signs, and whenever they would do a project, they'd put up yard signs. You've seen them when people do construct some remodeling work or put on new windows in the house. They put their sign out front, project being done by so-and-so windows or new siding. So that is your marketing budget for them. So it all depends. You can spend $100, you can spend $10,000. It's it's how much you want to spend depends on how quickly you want to grow. So as I said, it all depends.
I would agree with Bruce on that. It depends on the kind of business that's being started and how much money that you have. Let's say some businesses might start even advertising, let's say, in Business Magazine in Madison. Those ads are pretty expensive. If you got the money to do that, that's fine. But if you don't have the money to do that, do things that are inexpensive. One other thing on the internet, LinkedIn. If I was starting a new business today, I would definitely be on LinkedIn. Facebook, I would definitely be on that. I would definitely be on Instagram. Those are all inexpensive and good ways of not costing very much money at all.
I haven't seen any more questions come in. I was, this was kind of going through my mind while you were presenting today, Gene. You mentioned having a marketing plan.
Mm-hmm.
Doing a marketing section is part of the business plan writing.
Right.
Is there a difference between kind of what's called the marketing plan or marketing section of a business plan versus what you see big companies or mid-sized companies pulling together that they call their marketing plan? It seems like they might be two different things, or once you get to the point of really digging into marketing, you're making maybe a more detailed plan than was in your business plan.
Exactly. You're
Okay.
the part of the business plan is it's not nearly as detailed as I think you need to be to really be effective at doing your marketing. You want to really give some real thought to a marketing plan. Lay it out just like you're laying out your business plan for your business. Uh, we what Now when you're in a large company like Monsanto, we spent a lot of time putting a plan like that together, very, very detailed, and a lot of different pieces to it. A small business, uh, you've got a product or a service. You know, I define that, and so you can properly communicate about it, not only on your marketing materials, but on your sale when you're selling it to a customer. When you give good thought and write it down, because once you write it down, things come out that you can analyze it more, and then you run put down that initial plan, and then go back to it and review it and tweak it, and because you're constantly tweaking it as time goes on, but if you need to do this in order to properly communicate about your product or service, and properly sell it and properly market it.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
Can I jump in? Yeah, when Gene was talking about his staffing company that he started here in Madison, he talked about the idea that, okay, first thing we want to do is identify our market. And so he and his wife looked at the directories, the business directories that were there 25 years ago, and thought, okay, what kind of companies are going to be, or businesses or institutions are going to be hiring or needing temporary or permanent staff help. So people a company that can go out and look for, a temp person or somebody to work there. And so, in the Dane County, and Rock County, Greene County, Jefferson, there probably are 10,000 businesses, 20,000 businesses. And he had to make a decision on, okay, how do you go about determining which of those 10,000 businesses would be best to first, in my list of, priority, when I prioritize which ones to contact, how do I do that? What do I need to know? And I'm sure he looked at their size and the number of employees they had, the kind of employees they have, things like that. And as he was talking about tweaking, as they made their phone calls, I'm sure the responses from that they got helped them refine that list. Maybe they were calling the wrong type of businesses. They might find that in the they would call the construction industry, and they go, no, we're not going to be able to get a bunch of temporary carpenters, so I shouldn't be calling the construction companies. But insurance companies and other kind of small, not non-heavy manufacturing type companies, maybe those were better to call. So, that he was refining his market as that went on. With in my in the last month or so, I've dealt with a number of different small businesses and helping them with their marketing and sales plans. And I have one client who's starting up a preschool. And so she needed to look at the other preschools. So she's looking at the competition out there, the daycare providers. So she did market research on that. She needed to understand what the certification requirements were in the area that she planned to put her preschool, and who the influencers are for parents. So did she want to advertise in the local newspaper up there, or get a Facebook page and have Facebook send her ads to that local area? It was a lot of work that she had to do, and so slowly but surely she put together this plan, which she's going to start implementing next month, I think. So there are a lot of things that you have to think about, and you may, as Gene was saying, you just have to go out and work your plan, and if your plan doesn't work well, then make some changes. One of my prior jobs was as a pricing manager for a telephone company, and I helped them price telephone services and telephones and things like that. And we had to identify what our costs were, what the competition was, and a lot of this, our costs are our cost. That was pretty easy to come up with. But what the competition was, well, it was at that time, 25 years ago, it was pretty hard to understand what that, to find that out. And we had to actually go out and dig and dig and dig and dig, and then come up with a pricing plan that we thought would work. And then some of it worked and some of it didn't. And so we had to change prices around and come up with special offers to boost it. So it's just a plan is something it's got a life of its own, because as you start working your plan works you, and then you have to change your plan to make it more effective.
Good points, Bruce. And also it's really good from the standpoint that you initially had a plan. It got you off and running, and it started, and as you went down working that plan, you found out what worked and what didn't work, and then you tweaked it, and you improved the plan as you went along. Any other questions?
I just have a comment. I mean, I think from what I heard in the business plan chapters versus or compared to what I'm hearing today, it seems like this is another chance for startups to do some planning, especially if they missed it the first time around, right, for the business plan. And this also may be a chance to think about a different audience. So, your business plan audience is maybe you as business owner, maybe a lender, but it's really an internal document for you. When it's time to go out and market, the audience is changing to your customers. So it's a chance to tweak and rethink what you've already maybe written out in a business plan, how you're going to sell your product or service.
Right.
Yeah. Well, I think in 2 weeks when we hear from the 3 women in the Madison area who each own their own companies and are doing marketing and branding work and design work for other businesses, I think it'll be interesting to hear kind of what their jobs are like and what they help other business owners accomplish in their marketing plans.
Yeah, and you're going to hear a lot about branding from these 3 women. So that's going to be an important part that we didn't get in a lot into here. You know, what image do you want to present to the market? And you know, what do you want to say about yourself and your product? They are very talented women, all 3 of them. They've been in business for, you know, one of them's had her own company for 25 years. Another is an up and comer, and she's one of these people that when she talks, well, all 3 of them when they talk, they have important things to say. And they come from 3 different kinds of marketing. One really loves to plan and strategize. Another is into getting your graphics, your image materials ready. And they're going to be able to answer lots of questions from a lot of different angles.
Well, we will look forward to that. And I think in the meantime, if you come up with any questions, remember you can always work with your mentor if you have one already, or if you haven't taken the plunge yet into getting a SCORE mentor, that is always available to you, and you do that through the SCORE Madison website. Just request a mentor that way. So I think with that, I haven't seen any other questions coming in the chat. So I think that we can call it a meeting, and I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording.